Let's see, it's connecting. Okay, I think we are live. At least it says so on my phone. So I'm gonna assume that we are. It usually takes a few minutes for it to like populate in notes so that I can see the actual live stream going at the same time, but we could just do a little bit of banter while people rush into the room. Now, in
Um,
hindsight, I will say that doing this Friday the 13th, like 5 minutes before we were starting, 5 minutes ago, I thought, man, how cool would this have been to have done this at night?
yeah.
And I was like, well, too late. Uh,
Well,
because
the good thing is next year there's like 3 Friday
right,
the
there's
13th.
two
So
Friday the 13th, which I've already got like in my calendar. But yeah, I thought of that. I was like, oh, but I already have everyone is releasing their story at 10 a.m. I would have changed that to be like, release at 10 p.m. But then it's difficult because then I feel like I'm being very insular and saying, well, let's do it at night East Coast time, which
Mhm.
is not at night West Coast time or at night GMT or you get all these different time zones and it's like, well, what do you mean by at night?
Yeah.
Can you be
I,
more specific?
this worldwideness is it's always tough.
Yeah. Okay. So at least this time we're doing it and then people can, if you're not in the room when it happens, you can catch the replay later. So welcome in everybody. I see people are coming in. I've got my little chat window up because I don't like using the phone. It's a bit too confusing. They really need to fix that. I don't know what they could do to fix that, but I don't like that it covers your faces because you're underneath me. Um, and it only shows you like one line at a time. And so if you've got like a bunch of people coming in, it's like I gotta scroll this little bottom part here. I don't know. It's a thing.
Yeah. I feel you. So
yeah.
do you have it open on your on Substack, Erica?
I have yes, but I have it muted, and this headset that I'm wearing will never connect to my desktop, so I don't have if I don't accidentally disconnect me from my phone to go to my
Mm.
desktop, I try to make it. This is actually my work headset that I'm using for this because it captures my voice so good because it's got the little mic that comes out. Um, but yeah, so okay, so people are coming in. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thank you to John. I feel like I'm gesturing because I'm seeing I'm seeing you on my computer screen. So I'm like, one is on my my right and one's on my left, and I don't know my right from my left, and the thing is reversed, so I don't know. But they're on either side of me, so figure it out. But thank you to John and to Garen, especially Garen, because at the 11th hour. I messaged you right after we did your event on May 27th, and I was like, "Hey, so you can't write a story for I See You, but could you read all the entries?"
Mhm, mhm. I was like, "Yes, of course." And you know why that's an even bigger ask, Erica, is because I have a giant eye phobia, and so all of the eye stories were it was hard. My eyes started to ache, not from reading, just from like thinking about all
Right,
these
about all
stuff.
these eyes. All these eyes. And honestly, I didn't realize how many entries we were gonna get. I severely underestimated, like, I wasn't really tracking at all. I was just like, "Anyone who wants to enter can enter, go ahead." And I will say we got 22 entries for the contest, but overall we got 27, because there's an additional 5 that are out there in the world for who are just participating in the event. And so, I mean, props to everyone who participated because I felt like I didn't do as good of a job as I would have liked
Mm.
with promoting it. I was just kind of, because I do so many other things, right? I have my hands in so many other baskets and I'm helping Garen do your event. I'm helping, other people promote their things. There's so many things going on that every now and again I'm like, oh yeah, let me let people know this is happening on Friday the 13th. You should write something for it. So the fact that my lack of publicity brought 27 writers to the forefront, Amazing. So without further ado, um, first let's have John, you introduce yourself. Garen, you introduce yourself for the people in the room so they know who you are and what you do for the community at large, but also for the horror community specifically, because you guys are well known for your horror writing. So, John, if you want to go first.
Greetings, everybody. I'm John Coon. I'm one of the co-hosts of the Macabre Monday newsletter that comes out each Monday.
Yeah.
And additionally, I also have my own Substack, Strange New Worlds, which is devoted to sci-fi and horror. And it's great to be here talking about these wonderful stories that we got in this contest.
Awesome. And Garen?
Yeah, I'm Garen Marie. I am out of Only Child Originals, and I write horror, I write dark fantasy, and kind of fell into sort of like a community builder role here. I guess that's sort of what I've been calling it, where I've just been enjoying kind of putting together these, they're not contests exactly, just like events that people come together for and do a similar theme, and then we all drop it at the same time. And so that's sort of been my jam lately, and it's been really fun. We just finished up the one Small and Scary, Big and Beastly, which was a lot of fun to see all the different prompts, responses come through. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like you're quickly becoming almost like my co-host because I've had you on the most now. I've had you on
I
3 times.
know. I know.
Not that
I'll
anyone's
take that
counting.
on. I'll take that on. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so let's see. So should I do it? Because I feel like people they always have a certain way on how they announce like the winners, and I hate to say to label it that way as the winners, but that's really how it's a fine line that I'm trying to balance here. So you guys will have to help me out here a bit because while I wanted it to be an event, I also did want to make it a contest. So it was kind of hard for me to juggle both and be like, it's a event, but it's a contest within an event. And so we are going to pick the best one, but they're all good. So, it's kind of, it was that, I think that's why I didn't promote it as much as I would have liked because I didn't want to word it terribly. Like the wording was so difficult and I over time hopefully I'll get better with this. But it was an event that happened to just have a contest and I gave people the option so that everyone could participate and not feel like they were going to be in this contest and be judged against other stories. So you could have just entered the event and not been a part of the contest whatsoever to kind of mitigate any issues or funky feelings about it. But yeah, you were judged against everyone else. So unfortunately, there were some scripts that kind of wrote, scripts. I'm saying scripts because I'm helping my wife do her script contest. So I've got scripts on the brain. Sorry, that was a slip. So with your short stories and which ones we collectively liked over the others. And so I'm going to start with the fifth place. I just did the top 5 just because there was so many. I was going to do the top 3 and then I was like, you know what? The top 5 scored pretty high. And I will say the way we scored this, because I want to be as transparent as possible. So we had 5 different um, categories that we each were scoring out of 5. So the categories were theme, how well you stuck to the theme, the plot, how great your story was, characters, self-explanatory, how good your ending slash twist was. And then Garen came to me later and said, "Hey, can we throw one up in there for prose slash quality of the writing?" So we threw that one in there as well. So essentially, the highest score you could get is I'm not even going to say because my math is going to be mathing wrong.
25.
Yeah,
Yeah, 25.
25. And then you because it was 3 of us, so really it was 75 divided by 3, giving you the average of the 3 scores. But yeah, that was the highest you could get. And so the way that it worked, I'm like, I'm going through all of my things. So the 5th place, so I'm gonna go from 5 and count backwards, and then we could maybe discuss each one as we go. So in 5th place, we had Kenna Caldwell, who wrote Portrait Unfinished. And let me preface this by saying I unfortunately had to see who the writer was. There was no way around it. But for John and for Garen, I intentionally not only removed who the writer was, but the title of the story as well, because I knew that several of the people who were entering were saying the title of their story in Substack notes. So and sharing, their little image saying this is coming out on the 13th. So in case, you were seeing a title, I didn't even give you the title. So so you're kind of seeing the title
Which
for the
made it
first time.
a lot more fair for us.
I tried to make it as unanimous to you guys as possible. So Kenna Caldwell, Portrait Unfinished, was the title, and that was the story in fifth place. And for us, that's submission number 19, by the way.
Got it.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
submission number 19.
It is.
That one, one note I made on it when I was reading through it and judging it is the sculpture is nightmare fuel. I mean that sculpture was very unsettling, very creepy. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I liked that it was a little different. The setting was a little different than many of the other submissions that we read through. Like eyes kind of lend themselves well to like surgery and laboratories and that kind of thing. And this was an art gallery, which, when you think about it, it's like, oh yeah, obviously eyes, you're going to an art gallery to look at stuff. So it really made sense as a setting.
Mhm. Right. And that was really good because you always want something that's a little bit different, especially if you find yourself when you're reading through so many, they could start seeming a bit samey. And so, you try to give a theme that's as broad as possible in the hopes that people will not all write the same thing. So that one was really great to see something so different. Okay,
Well, the other
so
thing I liked about that particular entry is just the element of mystery that was in the story. Like you don't really know how he created sculpture. Like it's just left to your imagination as the reader, which I kind of enjoyed because you didn't need to know what was happening 100% to kind of get the horror and the terror of the moment.
Right.
right. Okay, so let's look at the number 4. Hold on, because I have to keep going back and forth. I really didn't do this well for myself. So the fourth one is, if I'm looking at this correctly, uh, Borrowed Sight by the Verdant Butterfly is what came in fourth place. And let me click back. And that was submission number 5. Just to throw a bunch of numbers out out at us.
This one, the one thing from a personal experience, the one thing that kind of got to me is I actually had LASIK surgery years ago, and so
Right.
having eye surgery and then having what basically unfolded for the main character here, that she's not only seeing like things clearly for the first time, but she's also seeing things that she shouldn't be seeing clearly for the first time. It was deeply unsettling.
Right. I will
Uh,
definitely say that I have been going back and forth. I mean, I've been wearing glasses since elementary school. So for me, getting eye surgery feels weird just because I've worn glasses for more than I haven't in my entire life. So so while I would love to get eye surgery, this story helped me realize I don't need it.
I'm right there with you because I have worn contacts since I was 12 and I am now 42. So you can do the math on that one. And I have often contemplated how nice it would be to wake up and be able to see
Right. And
everything
I have to
clear.
poke your eye every morning.
Yeah, exactly. And then similar to you guys, I was like, yeah, I'm good. It just doesn't go with my eye phobia. And but this story spoke to that phobia and really kind of like relit that shiver that I get whenever I think about doing that LASIK surgery.
Right. Um, okay, so let's go to 10th place or 10th place. Oh my God. Third place is submission number 10. I'm seeing too many numbers in my peripheral right now. Which is give me one second. Perfect Vision by Bloodfruit Horror.
The funny thing here is that these two are super similar,
Mhm.
right? And I was like,
Right.
how interesting that, and they almost have like the same kind of flow and the same, like the doctor that didn't tell them up front, and then it's like a reveal at the end. And so it was really, I was like, did these guys have like they had a brainwave moment where they met together across the universe and the same story came out. But again, I think it just speaks to that fear of like, what happens if you go in to correct your vision and then it comes out and it's all totally, it's not only wrong, it's like really wrong.
Right. And it's one
So
thing when it's an accident, it's another thing when it's intentional.
Yes, totally.
the one thing that struck me about the story is it kind of felt like a kind of a different like twist or take on a possession story, which
Mm.
was kind of fun because you always have like I mean the possession stories always kind of follow a similar rote formula. You know, ghost takes possession of the human, makes him do a bunch of unsettling things. But I kind of liked using eye surgery as kind of a window into having an evil personality essentially take over the good personality.
Right. Okay. And you said this is similar actually to the story that came in second place.
Oh, sorry.
Um,
Yeah, my bad.
yeah. Yeah. I think you were confusing it. It's a
I
story
was.
that came in second place, which is by Mary Ellen Brady. I see more, and I would shout it the way you're supposed to because it's got question mark exclamation marks at the end. See more. Ah!
I
Um,
felt sorry for Iris and Max. Those poor feet, poor dog, poor lady. Man, I will say this is the one submission that I gave a perfect score to across the board. Like
right.
I loved the story. Everything about it was well done. You can
Well,
tell the author really put thought into it and really took the time to really develop the story.
and that's why it came in second place. But now, drum roll to the first place winner. It is, if I'm not mistaken, Fey Eyes by Catherine Capodistria, which I hope I am saying that name correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I gotta say, with the exception, because I don't want to misgender anyone, but I was pleasantly surprised and thrilled at how many women came in the top five. Where I was like, oh, awesome, because women know how to write horror. Sorry, Johns, better than men. I'm just gonna say it.
Oh,
Probably because we've seen so many horrifying things that men have done in our lives. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
poor John. He's like, what do I say to this? I don't know. Oh gosh.
The thing I like about the winner is the revelation of what Esther's eyes are really like. I mean, because you're thinking this is kind of a all lost an eye, run of the mill story, but then when you realize that there's something unique about that, that's where the horror sets in. And wow, some of the things she sees are wild.
Yeah, without giving too much away about the twist ending, right?
Um,
Yeah.
I was a big fan. This was I had a couple favorites, and this is among them. So I was happy to see that it's the Catherine story came in first. But I just love the idea of like, you know, kind of like opening the eye. Again, I don't want to give too much away, but like that you're be able to see this world through an eye that's actually missing. And so it's pretty cool that there's these two worlds. One of them is like very beautiful, welcoming, magical. And then the other world, you're kind of stuck in this terrible hospital that's just really cold and antiseptic. And there's, you're considered crazy, but then are you actually? So I really like that idea of like, has she really lost her mind, or is this really her backstory coming back to her when she's able to see for real? And then the little twist at the end is pretty neat. I like that. So I thought that was all like a really nice, neat little package, and really nicely written with like that kind of language that brings you right into the story. So it was one of my faves.
Yeah, definitely scored pretty high, I think, amongst all three of us, which is why it actually, it almost tied with the story in second place. It was just in terms of I kind of ended up ranking the categories to say, okay, which was the most important category, and that was how the determination of who came in first place. But I know that John, you so graciously are going to give prizes to a prize to the first place, but I think you said also the second place. I don't want to misquote you on what it is you're going to give what that is. So if you want to talk about that for just a second in terms of what the prize is going to be.
Yeah. So what the first place will actually get two of my books through Sandlight Press. Uh, ebook copy of Pandora Reborn and an ebook copy of The Crimson Reaper. And then the second place will get an ebook copy of The Ghost Diaries.
Yeah, and thank you so much because I didn't really ask or expect you to give any prizes. So I was, not going to turn away you saying I would love to give something to the winners. So, thank you for that. And did you guys have any other stories besides these amazing top five out of the many that you read? Because you guys so graciously read 22 of them that you enjoyed outside of these that you'd love to talk about. If you want to let me know the submission number, I can pull up like the name and the title because that's how
Um,
I have it organized for
yeah.
myself.
But
I really liked, which one was it? Submission 14 about the social media kids that run the
Okay.
Survive Night.
Okay, that is Once They See by Jessica Maison, who I believe is in
Mm.
the room.
Oh, hi. Well, hi, Jessica. I really love that one. Again, I think I liked it because, like, for many reasons, but one of them was just that it was like a little different than the rest of them, the way it interpreted the I theme. And just that felt like it could be a thing where, you take these urban legends and these kids that are like after, a viral moment, and then put that together, and it's kind of great fuel for a podcast gone wrong. I really love that. And then I also just wanted to say before I forget that I was just really, I know in general that it's really like can be a little bit vulnerable to put yourself out there in these contests, even though everybody's like knows that you're being judged on your literary, submissions, and it's not like a personal thing. But sometimes your art does feel personal, and so I just wanted to take a moment and thank everybody for submitting them and putting themselves out there because honestly, they were all really good on lots of different levels. And I read through them quite quickly because I was like, I just wanted like I want to see what happens next. And the next one, it didn't feel like no moment felt like a slog. So I just think that the people that, when you put yourself out there, it's a brave thing to do. So I just want to give a little props to everybody that submitted their stories. Because that takes some bravery.
It does. And just a reminder, like I will try as I do these events slash contests to pick different kinds of readers and judges just because, everyone's taste is not the same.
Mhm.
And so you have to remember that, like, you can enter the same story in the same contest one year and not do as well as the following year. And the question always comes up, and I know this from my wife who runs a contest, and this happens where a person will enter the contest and one year they won't make it past a certain step, and then the next year they might be a finalist with the same script, and it's like, well, how did that happen? Well, different readers have different opinions on what they like and what they don't like and what spoke to them, and you really never know who's going to read it and what their opinion's going to be, and how things are scored and everything else. So, never think that it's because your story might not have been good enough. It's just who read it, and what how closely it came to the theme, how different your story was compared to everyone else's. If everyone's writing vampire stories, then yours has to be the most unique vampire story of the 50 vampire
Exactly.
stories that was read that day. And so that could happen, right?
Well,
Um,
I was gonna say the thing that stood out for the ones that I scored the highest were the ones that were, just have complete package. They were unique, original, fresh takes on the plot that they presented. Characters were really well developed. Um,
Mhm.
they stuck to the theme. The prose was really plain. It didn't read like a rough draft. And just like the way they executed the ending was good. They kept you drawn into the story as a reader from start to finish. I mean, it just so much goes into determining the scoring and determining, first, second, third place. And like you say, lots of good stories, but you know, it's just the extra little bit that usually puts the winner on top, or the
right.
second or third place story on top versus the rest of them.
Yeah, it's super subjective, right? I mean, so you're totally right in like maybe in the future on these contests. Although, as much as I would like to participate, picking different viewpoint judges just to see like what their style is, what they pick up on, because one story hits somebody and it just doesn't for somebody else, and there's no real key to that, just like your personal opinion. So.
And I think entering these also is a great exercise muscle because these are always going to be free for you to enter and free for you to participate in. But it helps you to, I don't want to use the word get rejected or get not picked, but it helps you to build that muscle of my story is not going to hit every time. But it
Mhm.
also helps you to just enter these and feel okay if you don't make it, because it is just, I don't want to say it's just top in fiction because we're dope and we're awesome and we should be held at the highest regard as any other contest out there, you know? Um, but I do want it to be sort of like an exercise muscle for you to get that confidence to one day enter the bigger contest where it might be a fee to enter. You will get, better prizes than I can offer you. And so if doing this to get you motivated to do more of these and to write more of these and to learn, and I think it's also helpful, for you too as well, Garen and John, because when you enter a contest, you're seeing, the caliber and the quality of everyone else's work, and you're, broadening, I hope, your skill set, not
Yeah.
just to be a reader and a judge, but also to write your own work and submit your own work in many respects. And I also want you to be able to enter some of the top in fiction contests. So I'll try not to, come to you every time and be like, hey, you want to judge this contest? No, I want you to enter.
John, I think I stole the first slot there. Did you have another story or that you wanted to just call out as a fave?
There was one that kind of stuck with me. It was submission number two.
Okay, hold on
Um,
one second. I can pull that up real quick. So number two was a photograph of you by Wendy Cockcroft, actually.
yeah, the the main character, the narrator in the story, kind of reminded me like of a twisted version of the Ghost Whisperer. I don't know if you've ever seen that TV show. That it's basically the show's about
Whisper.
Jennifer Love
Is that
Hewitt
Jennifer Love Hewitt?
being
Okay,
able
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
talk to dead people.
Yep.
Oh, yes, yes. Okay, now I'm with you.
And he helps them cross over and all that. This story kind of reminded me of the twisted version of that. There's this person that can see, well, dying people, and is kind of there to but is not necessarily there to help as much as that they're kind of addicted to death, for lack of a better way to put it.
I like
And
that.
so, yeah, it's a little twisted and creepy in that sense.
Right.
Uh, that's perfect.
Well, I like to keep myself as unbiased as possible, so I'm not gonna say which one I did or didn't like um the most, just because I feel like as the person who runs the thing, I hate to inject myself and give my thoughts on things because I want to be as Switzerland as possible.
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah. Just because I don't want anyone to feel like I'm playing favorites on anything, you know what I mean? So it's another
Mhm.
fine line that I try not to cross, where it's like, no, I am unbiased, even though I feel like I'm probably very biased in in so many ways. So I try to be as unbiased in other ways. So I won't say anything about that. But I will say before we go, because I want to send out the Top in Fiction Disruption post that has them all nice and neatly organized as soon as possible. But I will say I was going to reveal this, and I think Garen, I was messaging you. I was like, I don't know if I should say this
I know.
now, or if I
Are
should
you?
if I should wait until July 2nd. I'm still so torn. So I'm not going to say it. What I will say,
Oh, what?
okay, you know what? Okay. Because what happens is if I say one thing, then I feel like I have to say the other part and I can't say the other part.
Ah,
Um,
sorry.
okay. So I'm really like John's like, what are y'all talking about? I have no idea.
I'm just
What
here for the ride.
and she's like, what are you talking about? Okay, so I want to put a collection together of these stories. And I want Garen's like,
Mhm. Mhm.
and and publish it for people to buy. Okay. Um,
Exciting.
and so that's in the works. And so the people, not only the people who are in the top 5, but a majority of the other people who participated, which is why I made such a big deal and say, whether you're entering the contest or not, you want to participate because I am only going to be inviting people who participated in the event. And I make a small caveat to that because I am leaving the door open for, and they don't know this, for both Garen and John, if they would like to write an ICU story
Ooh, okay.
Nice.
that will be not only featured but prominently displayed in the beginning of the book that will be put into a collection, then they can. So you're getting an easy one because you have the entire rest of the year to write a story. Uh,
Okay,
with
Nice.
that's
with
easy.
with no real cap other than it's a short story, so please not more than like 12,000 words. But you have like an unlimited cap and you have an unlimited time to write it because this is not going to get published till next year. Early is I'm saying winter 2026, so I'm being really aloof with that, but winter 2026 is when I'm hoping to have this published. And those people who are going to be invited, you will get a personal invitation from me in the next 2 weeks to say, would you like to be a part of this? Because everyone might not want to. Um, and everyone who is invited, you will have the opportunity to edit, update, and or lengthen your submission if you'd like. Between now and I will give you a deadline. So all of that is happening. I'm being very vague and aloof because there is a bigger announcement that's coming that's a part
Mhm.
of this first anthology that's happening, that I can't mention and I won't mention no matter how Garen looks at me and winks at me and says, "You sure you don't want to mention it?" No, I'm not mentioning it.
I can't.
I've already said too much. But yes, all the people who participated, even if you didn't participate in the contest, even if you just participated, which is there are 5 of them, I believe, that were that participated and didn't enter the contest, they will also likely get an invite from me to be a part of this thing that I'm putting together. So thank you to both of you because you really did help me in terms of the quality and the caliber of each story. Because I'm probably not going to send an invite to everyone, to all 27. So that's why I needed you guys and your input and your assistance and your help and support on this. So thank you so much to everyone who participated. I love it. Keep an eye out because any future events, this will likely be the outcome. So if you don't enter the contest, participate in the event because this will likely be the outcome. And I won't shout out Garen because she's possibly doing something similar to what I'm doing. And I didn't just shout you out like that, did I? No, I didn't. But since you made me reveal something, I'm just gonna say it.
I don't have anything to say. I will say that it's dangerous. It's dangerous that you invited us to write this story because, and I'm now that I have time to think about it, I may take this back, but you know what I actually was going to do when you reveal the theme for ICU? I was like, what is like the weirdest thing that I can come up with for an eye? I was like, how about the eye of a potato? So
Okay, yeah, that sounds. I'm really intrigued by that.
and Erica's like, no, I rescind your invitation. You
I
are no
mean,
longer invited to this anthology. Like,
I love potatoes, and I'm concerned that I may not love potatoes anymore
I know.
after I read whatever you write about potatoes.
I think I'm gonna need to think about that. I'm gonna need to
You've
maybe
got
read that.
time.
Yeah.
You've got time to think about. I
Okay, yeah.
mean, a potato has multiple eyes, so I don't. No, never mind. They
Don't go
only
there.
have one
I'm not
eye.
gonna stop. No. Okay.
I'm not going to think about it anymore.
Funny.
Sure, whatever. Do what you like. It's not for me to say. But okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Garen. Thank you, John. When I have access to this video, I will release the post that will have this video on demand, that will have all the stories listed. If I have your name mentioned incorrectly or your story title incorrectly or a link incorrectly, please let me know in the comments and I will fix them because I tried to make sure everything was clean and tidy and was going to work properly, but you never know until you hit publish where the mess up is. Um, so again, thank you guys. John, I will, I guess, give you the contact information if you need it for who you need to reach out to give them their prizes. And I will
Definitely
leave that in
appreciate that.
your most capable hands, but I will give you whatever information you need from me to get that happening. And I will catch you guys on the next time I'm live, which I believe is not till July 2nd. Um, you can quote me on that because I don't think I have anything scheduled till July 2nd when I'm doing the Top in Fiction State of the Union, which is the one that you don't want to miss because I'm going to tell you something that's really huge that has to do with what I just revealed right now. And I can't tell you any more than that. But the State of the Union, you don't want to miss it. It's going to be very long. God help me. I'm going to get my throat lozenge ready because it's going to be like an hour at least. So thank you guys. This was so much fun. Now I'm going to go read the 5 submissions that were not a part of the contest, that were just a part of the event. I didn't get to read those yet, so I'm going to go read those. And you guys should read them too. So yeah, thank you everyone. Enjoy your Friday the 13th. Watch a good horror movie. Are you guys do you do that for Friday the 13th before we go? Do you watch a horror movie? What do you do? Do you do anything?
I have to censor myself a bit because I've still got young ones at home.
Okay.
So,
Well, at
and
night when they go to bed.
I know, but they don't go to bed till freaking like 10 o'clock, and then I'm tired.
Great,
So
great.
I have enough nightmares of my own. I just watch my dreams, and that.
Okay. All right. John, do you do anything?
I always watch a horror movie on Friday the 13th. I try to
Classic.
search out black cats to go pet them, and just walk under ladders,
That's
just
that's not
whatever.
that's not creepy. Seeing some guy just walking down the street looking for a black cat. That's not weird. That's normal.
Like, oh, I love it.
Okay. All right, guys. So go enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your Friday the 13th. Enjoy your weekend. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye. How do I? Oh, I'm like, where's the end button?